Welcome to the Ignited podcast. In this episode, I'm talking to Johannes, who is a German entrepreneur. He started a software company that monitors the performance of solar energy. We discuss a lot of interesting topics like how it is to start a company while you're studying and how you fund a company and what exit strategies you might not have, how it feels to sell your company, and so on. Personally, I can really relate to his case because I also sold my company a couple of years ago. And because of that, I'll also be sharing a couple of my personal experiences on these topics. I think his story is really interesting and there's a lot to be learned from it. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching the podcast on YouTube. That way you'll be notified as soon as I upload a new episode. It's also possible to listen to the podcast on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you do that, please give the podcast a review and tell us what you think about it. Let's get the episode started. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks again, Bobby.
It would probably be in order with a little short introduction about you if you're up for it.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm Johannes. I'm located in Germany, and basically we have I live in Düsseldorf. I work in Berlin, but I'm originally from Rostock. So I'm traveling basically a lot, and I'm an entrepreneur. We develop a hardware independent monitoring for the operation and maintenance of solar projects. And we try to want to scale up the marketplace behind there in order to analyze the fault from an inverter function, and we want to connect it with the solution. That's the basic idea behind what we do at the moment.
Sounds really interesting. So renewable energies is your area.
Absolutely, yeah. I've been working in the renewables for, I think 15 years. I started there when I was a student. I was basically literally installing PV systems and installing inverters. That's where I started from.
Cool. So the product that you're developing, it is hardware or software?
It's software. It's software, just a basic software solution.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea behind there, so if you basically operate a PV system, let's say it's a bigger one, not the small one for households, just a bigger one on the open field, and you have to on a daily basis, you have to check different inverters, you have to check the modules, you have to check if everything is up and running, and if you meet your business case.
Okay.
And therefore, you basically need an intelligent solution that's basically supporting you. That's what Solitik is doing.
So it's for the uptime for all the hardware. Or is it the actual panels or is it the inverters or?
It's the inverters, yeah, correct.
Okay.
They basically send in data to our server, and that's what we basically analyze.
Okay, that's really interesting. So how did you get started with that business?
It's when I was a student, I don't know, about 12, 15 years ago, I was sitting in front of a PC. I was doing the actual work. I was basically monitoring a couple of sites, and I was sitting in front of 10 different monitoring portals, and I all have really nice curves, really colorful curves. And I was sitting there and I was typing all those values into Excel. I was just doing my analysis with Excel, and that's where we started with a partner. We tried to fix it and try to take the data and write it automatically in Excel. That's basically what the first idea there was, and therefore we started step by step, slowly. With this company together, of course, studied. Therefore, it's been developing quite some time over the last, of course, 10 years so far.
Okay, that's awesome. So you started out with a specific customer that actually had a need, and what was it your job? You started out there a job,
yes,
a job?
It was my job. Yeah, correct. It was my first student job there.
Okay.
Well, Johannes, please analyze the solar parks.
Okay.
Those are the 9 monitoring portals. And I was like, okay, I'm taking this into Excel. And the funny thing is that 10 years ago, I've been doing this business, and nowadays, 10 years later, it's still status quo, state of the art.
Really?
not like in this detail, but people are still doing those jobs, and that's basically we want to change that.
Yeah, so they're still monitoring and analyzing all the data by looking at screens and graphs and putting into spreadsheets or whatever they're
Absolutely.
doing. Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah,
okay, that's really interesting. How can you? So is it available from the cloud or the solution?
Yes,
or, yeah.
It's a cloud-ready solution, but the main part there is you need to connect the site with our cloud. So that's the not like a CRM tool or like I don't know any other cloud tool, but you need to go to the site and connect the inverters or the data logger with our server.
Okay, so you actually go to the site and connect your computer, like admin panel or.
Yeah, correct. There's like a function or like a web server integrated in those hardware, and therefore, like us or our customers are going there and they type the address, and then they're basically sending data, and then from there everything goes automatically.
Yeah, and the reason why it's for businesses or larger parks is that it's too small for a household to use your software.
Yeah, correct. Therefore, yeah.
The installation in households are so small, maybe only one inverter or.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and at the moment, of course, we basically want to. That's the main idea behind our long-term strategy, that we want to scale down into the households. Yeah. That basically, of course, if you think about Germany or Europe, a lot of households have different PV systems. There we have like more than 100,000 customers, or even more than that. In the small scale, but in the bigger scale, of course, we need to learn in the bigger scale in order to scale it down to the smaller ones.
Okay, yeah, got it. That makes a lot of sense. So that's really interesting. You just saw a problem and you knew how to fix it, but nobody told you that it had to be turned into a business. It could just be, something that you help this customer with. Why did you decide to start your own business? What were you thinking about?
There was no big time strategy behind there. It was just like, it was about 5 years ago when we started that. So before that, of course, it was just doing as a side business, a smaller scale. I was studying, I was working for another job there, but we still kept on doing this on the side business there. But then round about, 5-6 years ago, we said, well, we have this opportunity, we have this product, it could be ready, it's not 100% done yet, but we could work on that. Let's try to let's just try it and try to start this business opportunity in order to see if it's a market ready product. And therefore we basically started really. There was no big plan behind it.
No, I did the same when I started my company back in the day. I was also studying, and I wanted to run my own company, so we started a company.
All right, and what was it about?
It was a software company where we developed a platform for e-commerce, so small and medium-sized businesses could go online to our website and create their online store. So we did that. That was back in 2005. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, I was actually at business school, and they taught us a lot about strategies and budgets, and we didn't use any of that. We just started. And
right. I know all the methods behind it, but at the end of the day, it's all about it's a people's business in order to start this, right? You need to find the right approach to the customer and try to find how is he reacting and what is his need, and try to adapt your strategy there.
We continuously worked with strategy, but we also kind of didn't use the old school approach because we wanted to be more agile and be able to change more quickly, and we were just listening to the customer that was our main thing. Just listen to the customer, and they actually pulled us in the right direction. So we had like a product vision and stuff that we wanted to do, but we were mainly focusing on the customer. I think that helped us to actually survive the first years, which are very difficult.
Definitely, you need to be really customer-centric. Therefore, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's basically also like I like to work customer-centric.
Yeah.
Correct. And how many people were you back in the days?
I sold the company a couple of years ago, and we were around 25 people.
Wow, that's amazing. 25.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So we also started while I was studying at university, as I told you, and yeah, I was writing my master thesis and having salespeople talk to me while I was trying to write my So that was a really exciting time. But in my case, I was just studying, so I didn't have a lot to lose. I mean, I didn't have a lot of expenses and stuff like that, so it was easier for me to take the risks of starting a new company. So did you feel the same when you started, or I mean about risk, because it's quite risky to start a company.
Definitely, it's quite risky. Of course, at the end of the day, you need to think about money, and you need to have like a different buffer. You need to finance a lot of things, of course. And the good thing is we kind of started with a bit of a customer base back then, because we had already paying customers from this project, and therefore it was just the base, and the base was quite all right. It could cover like the basic expenses, but not ours, like I was saying, our salary. That's what we needed to grow.
Yeah.
That's what we needed to find the solution there. I think, as we were saying, you didn't have that many expenses back in the days. Of course, you try to reduce your expenses. But I think if you have also like a strong family background, where your family is supporting you, and basically you can trust or always rely on them to a certain standard there, I think that's also really positive.
Did you have kids when you did? No, I mean you got kids later on, or still not?
No, I still don't have any kids.
Okay,
I'm married now, but not back then. But I had the same girlfriend there.
Yeah, because support from back home could be your close family, but it could also be your partner in life, whether you're married or not. That's very important, because you need to focus so much on the company and spend so much time on the company that you need an understanding partner to do that. Yeah.
Like friends of mine, when you're saying kids, for example, friends of mine, they're saying, well, I have kids and also I'm an entrepreneur. Therefore, I'm working a lot more because I need to cover the expenses, right?
Yeah.
But the other part is saying, well, I have kids. I want to have a safe environment. I want to have something safe. So I think there are two different mindsets behind there for people.
So you just started the company, and you never thought about getting a normal job or quitting the company or doing something else?
Well, that's basically I would say the solar industry it's my passion. I've been working there for like the past 15 years. Basically, did all the ups and downs in Germany. I saw that, and also in Europe, and building something, creating something. I've been working in the project development for solar. So we had a greenfield, and we started with a greenfield, and we finished with a project, with the grid connected project. And I would say I would translate this to starting a company. We have a green field. We try to solve a problem there, and what do we need to do? Which steps do we need to take in order to achieve the long-term goal? And that's basically what we're doing there as well. So I've been doing a lot of similarities there.
Yeah, so what I hear you say is that it's kind of a creative force that you are able to create something and build something, and because of that, that's your motivation, and that's what drives you.
Definitely, it is, right, and it's a big challenge with a growing people behind there. We are at the moment 30 people for this. I'm scaling I'm structuring the sales team. So that's basically my job. I'm not the technical guy. I'm the sales guy.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Did you start by yourself, or did you start with somebody?
I had a co-founder. He's the technical. I was doing the sales, operations, everything else, and he was doing product and technical back end, front end.
Okay,
that's how we started. And with the growing amount of people, you have a different approach. You need to set up the environment, the borders for your people in order to get the job done. I mean, as I would say, and you need to think about the structure, and you need to think about the people management. So it's been changing a lot there.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the biggest challenge at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree. I felt the same. And that's, when you grow to maybe 15, 20 people, you realize that no matter what industry you're in, you're always in the people business. Because
Right.
when you get to 15 people, what you really need to do is be able to lead them and to, to tell them what is your vision and how can you achieve the goals that you envision. And I think that's a very challenging part.
That's absolutely 100% challenging, yeah. And you need to find the balance between the operation, the daily business, and the long-term business
exactly.
there. And that's also really challenging, yeah.
Yeah. I when you're maybe up until 10 people, you can still, just go and fix something and do something yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the easy way out, but it's only like a short-term effect, because you really need to make people, empower people and make sure that they are doing everything. So I remember that a lot of times I just found it easier to just fix something. But
Correct,
when you grow beyond 10 people, it's difficult to do that.
It's difficult. Yeah, you say, well, yeah, I'm just gonna fix it myself, do this and this, and then it's fixed and it's kind of working. But it's not working with a lot of people there behind it. That's correct.
Yeah, because it's still you who knows how to fix it, and people didn't learn from it. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, you got it done fast. But next time you're in the same position. So that's what's really challenging when you need to grow your team, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and it's even more challenging because like last year we kind of merged with another company, and therefore we have now a very diverse shareholder structure, and therefore the expectations are growing there as well. You need to basically just rely on numbers and on KPIs, and that's basically what I'm doing. Set up the base for basically making decision on number based, because back then when we were just two people, I was doing, okay, I have the feeling this is the right way, right? We go do this way and then it's working, but now we need to make the decision on numbers, not on my feeling.
Yeah. And how is that working? So what kind of KPIs are you working with?
Definitely all the normal sales KPIs. So how much time do I need to close a customer? So how much time do I need from inbound to a face-to-face meeting or to like a web meeting? So we gave him like a presentation of our software, because it's this is the only tool he's using in order to monitor his sites. And if our software is not meeting his technical requirement, he wouldn't buy it, because it's but it's not that technical complex, but on his perspective, it's a real technical concept and software, and he needs to have all this technical stuff there behind it. So in a very short way. Therefore, how much time do we need to have them for like a face-to-face meeting, and then how much time do we need from that until offer, and how much time we need from offer to a real signature, and then with the upsell part comes into mind, how much time we need from those things, and of course the conversion behind this. And what's the source? Is it inbound, outbound? What kind of lead magnets are working best? And therefore, I'm looking kind of those numbers. And all the soft numbers is, of course, how many touch points do we need? And how do we segment the customer, right? So if for a smaller customer, we don't want to have a lot of touch points, because it's costing us money in order to acquire him, right? It's too costly. But on the other side, of course, he kind of needs this. So how do we solve this problem there? So we I kind of rely on this number. And at the end of the day, the turnover, that's also the number we're looking at the end of the day. And what kind of steps do we need to have? Like if we say we need to make 100,000 euros turnover, how many offers do we need to send out? How many telephone calls do we need to do? So kind of the steps to the turnover.
Yeah, you started the desired goal, and then you kind of break it down backwards to
Correct.
find
Yeah.
out what
Yeah.
steps you need to take
Yeah.
to achieve those goals.
Right.
Yeah, and that's some really good KPIs. So I guess that is also something that develops when you grow your business. So in the beginning,
Yeah.
if you're like me, you didn't think too much about the KPIs. You just wanted to sell, and it's something that the more you get into the processes in your company, the more you also get into details with the KPIs and stuff like that. So how long have you been working on this mindset?
On the
with
KPI mindset?
Yeah, because
it's been changed like last year when we merged with the other company.
Okay.
When we got the other shareholders, because we need to make decisions based on those KPIs. We grow in the team. We need to make the decisions, and that's another thing. If we need to do another financing round, another Series B or so, we need to answer those questions, and that's basically what we also look. What kind of, like in next year, where do we need to be? What's our business plan, and what kind of steps do we need to do now in order to achieve this goal? And what do we need to do now? How many offers, turnover, stuff like that we need to do now? What kind of base, or what kind of CRM do we need to use? Where do we need to extract the data? What kind of BI systems are we using now? Those things.
There's a lot of systems that you need to use also. I mean, just for the inbound part, there's a lot of things to use there. So you talked about the merger with the other company. What kind of company was that? Was that a competitor or?
Yeah, kind of a competitor. They've been also doing this kind of monitoring thing, and it's been like a spin-out, a co-founding creation of a bigger utility company, together with two other entrepreneurs. And basically we kind of spoke in the early days when I saw them. We kind of been in touch. Always talking with people brings you a bit further, right? Even though you're competitors, you still talk and still exchange ideas, even though you think, well, there's no way we're going to do business together, but in the end of the day, you still talk with them and see if what's this strategy, right? And therefore we kind of saw, well, we have the same idea about the market. We need to digitalize the operations of PV systems. We want to scale this down in a decentralized environment. And we kind of had the same mindset there. And therefore we said, well, you have this skill set, or the people had this skill set, we had this skill set, let's bring it together in order to achieve the longer goal there. And that's basically the idea, and why we did the step in order to merge them.
So were you competing for the same customers, or were they in different segments?
Kind of competing for the same customers.
So they were actually relatively close competitors. So how did it feel to be in the same house as a former competitor?
It's not a big of a deal, right? It's the people are, it's been very friendly environment from the day one. Didn't feel like a competitor, not at all.
Okay, yeah, well that's good. But so did you think about merging your company or sell your company or stuff like that when from the beginning? Did you have an exit strategy or?
Yeah, I mean, like every entrepreneur thinks about kind of exit strategy there, and thinks about this. We'll start the business from day one and sell it. I don't know, 2-5 years. I don't think that's really possible.
No.
I mean, if you have a lot of money and you need to throw a lot of money there, of course, I think if you can grow, and then I think you can sell something in 5 years, but not really from scratch, from zero. It's not possible, in my opinion, to.
It takes more time.
3 years. It takes a long time there. But coming back to the question, of course, we kind of had this kind of exit strategy, but we didn't really push it. We didn't say, well, at the end of the day, we wanted to solve this problem there, and we kind of like made our way. And we didn't really say, well, 2 years exit, and what steps do we need to do there? We didn't think about this
No,
at
but it
all.
was just in the back of your head.
Yeah, right.
It would be would be really cool if it was possible at some point.
We also before the merge, we actually had this opportunity. Was kind
to sell your company.
Yeah, correct. We had this also a competitor. They wanted to sell us. They wanted to buy. Yeah. We wanted to sell.
And were you supposed to be a part of that the new setup, or was it?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we wanted to. They wanted us. They wanted to restructure their backend technology.
Okay.
We needed to invest there, and they said, well, we might be the right partner that we help them in order to get to the next technology level. That's how I would say core.
Yeah.
We had a lot of expertise in the smaller business. They've been working in the utility scale, and we kind of negotiated all contracts. We had the notary appointment ready, and 2 weeks before notary, I got a call. Sorry, Johannes, we cannot do the deal.
Wow, that was a bummer.
Yeah. That was absolutely bummer.
Yeah, because
roller coaster is going down.
Yeah, emotionally that must have been very difficult, because when you're in the transaction process, I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and it's really hard work to get all the information ready to present your company and stuff like that. But you're also kind of thinking of the future and what could happen, and since you're in the process, you have some ideas about what's going to happen in the future. I recognize that, because when I sold my company, it was also ups and downs all the time, and it was for a long period of time. Actually, the duration of a transaction like that, it takes time. So a lot of times I didn't know if we were going to sell, or if everything would go wrong and that we wouldn't be able to sell. So in the end, we sold. But how was it for you? Do you feel the same about the roller coaster and not knowing what was going to happen?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of felt the same. I kind of see similarities there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so the second process, the company you actually ended up merging with, did you start that up right away, or was it something that?
I think it was like half a year. Half a year, 1 year after that.
Okay, and the second time around, you were more experienced and knew what you were going into.
Yeah, I would say it was also very long, frustrating ups and down process there.
Yeah,
really long, because of the really complex shareholder structure from their side, and also from our kind of. I wasn't that complex, but we had a Japanese shareholder there, and he didn't want to be part of this complex structure there. So it was kind of a kind of road stoppers in the process there. So but been a really tough fight, I would say, in order to solve this.
How long was the process? Is it like half a year, 1 year, or?
I would say 1.5 years.
1.5 years?
Yeah. Roundabout. Roundabout.
Yeah.
Until like from the first meeting. It's also like, let's say from the first meeting.
Yeah.
Until the final signature, 1.5 years. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think that people realize how big of a process this is, and how much time it takes to actually sell even just a part of your company or your entire company. It's a really big thing. And you know, when I sold my company and I signed it, after that I was just totally exhausted.
Definitely, yes. Yeah. Same for me.
It's not avoidable to lose just a little focus on the main business. You are losing some focus on the main business and on the operations, and that's never good.
That's right. As I was saying, so that's if you have like those things. If you want to sell, for example, your company, that's basically your plan A. And as like an entrepreneur, you always need to have a plan B or C, right? And if you lose focus on your plan B, right, you cannot if plan A doesn't work, you cannot execute B or C because you didn't do the steps there. So you always really have to bear in mind that's what we try to do there in the process of learning. Basically, the learning from the first thing is there that we try to work on the plan B or C there in the background. Of course, we didn't execute this, but
So the plan A was to sell the company, and the plan B was that alternative buyers, or was it just a different strategy, or?
It was a different strategy.
Okay. Yeah. I got it. Yeah. So when I sold my company, so we went into the process, but we just agreed that we will act like we're not going to sell it, even though we are trying our best to do it, but we didn't know if we were actually going to reach an agreement. So on a daily basis, we were just in the mindset of that we're not going to sell because we don't know. And it was not that we were pessimistic or anything. It was kind of a way for us to stay as focused as possible on the business, to make sure that everything was running as smoothly as possible while we are doing the other things. But it is a very difficult balance because you are spending a lot of time on things that are not related to the normal operations.
Right. On DD process, everybody's looking at the risk and looking at the balance sheet and looking at what is this invoice doing, what is this and what is that. How do you think the future is going to be? What is that? So you spend a lot of time on those things. Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's a balance of taking risks.
Yeah. It is an interesting process, though. I'm really happy that I was able to start a company from zero and then actually sell it. And I guess it's you get that experience because when you start a company, you have a lot of ideas about, okay, this company is this much worth and we're going to do this and that. But when you actually present your company to somebody who would have to pay money for your company or for your shares, then you get a more realistic view on what is actually valuable in the company, both in terms of processes and, let's say, software or whatever your product is. You get a real hands-on and some good experience on that, and I'm happy that I got that. Did you get some good experiences as well? I mean, in terms of really understanding what are things worth?
Yeah, definitely, yes. Because we're selling kind of a SaaS solution. So basically, back then the old the thing where we didn't sell, they basically look, okay, what is your turnover now? What is basically secured by contracts?
Yeah.
So how much money do I make by contract next year? So that's what they basically looked at. And then they basically thought, well, we have a 10% or 5% growth scenario, or like 15, and therefore and you have a churn rate of 2 or 5%, I don't know. That's basically what they've done their math on. And then they basically said, well, this is the company valuation. Then we deduct the risk and we add the cash on what we have on the balance sheet, and that's basically the valuation there.
Yeah.
So kind of very easy, and I think that's, of course, that's on a really easy base, because back then we're a really huge company.
Yeah.
Still not yet. But yeah.
It's, for those who don't know what SaaS is, it's a software as a service, and that basically means that you buy the software on a subscription. But that's actually a really nice model also to, because you can calculate the value and the incoming revenue relatively precise. So also, even though it's not only in a sales process, but just in general, when you need to figure out if you're on budget or not.
Right.
So from what I understand, you had a Japanese shareholder from the very beginning. Was that a way that you funded the company in the beginning, or did you bootstrap?
We kind of bootstrapped from the beginning, and we had this 2 years after our funding of starting the company. So
you bootstrapped for the first 2 years, and then you had some funding series.
Yeah, a bit like a small funding series. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of bootstrapped only.
Yeah. Okay. So was it more like a business angel or actual series?
No, yeah, kind of a business angel. Yeah, he wanted to support us.
That's cool.
And he wanted to bring our software also in the Japanese market.
So did he manage to do that?
Yeah, we have a couple sites up and running, but
nice.
It's not been working out as expected, to be honest. It was kind of the market kind of developed in a different way as we, for the software didn't. So the software wasn't be a big part there.
Oh, okay. So why did you choose to team up with a business angel? Why did you get funding? Was it just because you needed needed more money to run the company, or was it to get more? For instance, you were talking about this strategic move that you could actually get into the Japanese market. Was that a big motivation, or what motivated you?
That was a big motivation, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, growing, getting new markets. That was a bigger motivation. And he's been also like in this combination there, like the people behind there who have been active like the past 20-25 years in the solar industry, in the semiconductor industry. So they had a really good network there behind there. Also was like boosting. Also, you could open doors. That's I think the positive thing there. And of course we needed to do also money for the next for growing. And that's so there were. I think it's a set of different actions there. Why we choose this step.
Yeah. So in your experience, what would you recommend other entrepreneurs to do? What would you recommend entrepreneurs that maybe been bootstrapping for, let's say, 1 or 2 years, and then they want to get external funding from, let's say, a business angel, or what would you recommend them to do?
That's really difficult to say because there's no clear recommendation. Be clear on your path, I think. Solve the problem, I think. And be open-minded for opportunities. They will occur somewhere, and you just need to see them. I think that's something for this business angels opportunity. They are not 100% clear, but just talk with the people, give them an update. And he might gonna remember you 2 years or 1 year afterwards after you talk with him, and you think, well, I know this guy. He looks for this and this. Maybe I give you the introduction. Yeah. I think be clear.
Always be close to people that might be able to help you, even though if it's not right now, maybe later.
Not right now, maybe later. That's right. Yeah.
That's good advice as well. So. When I started my company, it was just around the financial crisis back in 2008. We started in 2005. So funding wasn't really like a big thing for us. We couldn't really expect a lot of funding. So we were just trying to, work as a bootstrap company. And so we managed to do that. We never got funding, actually. My idea was to build a business that was entirely bootstrapped, and because then I would know that I would be able to make it profitable. And you always hear a lot about these big Silicon Valley companies that they get a lot of funding, but
a lot of funding, and they throw a lot of money on people and try to grow. It's not. That's right.
Yeah. So there's like, from my little philosophy to the way that things are going on around the world, I think that's very different ways of running a company. I mean, to get a lot of funding and then just burn everything trying to get somewhere, or to try to build something slowly that is actually working. So what kind of approach do you prefer?
I prefer, of course, definitely the first one, because building something profitable, that's I think the main idea behind the entrepreneur. Yeah. I think if you give someone a lot of money, you can build something. I think that's
everybody could have done that.
Right. Not everybody. It's really simplistic. It's really simplistic. But but building a company with just profit, it's also really tough.
Yeah,
you have a really roller coaster. Of course, you need money at the end of the day, and you need to have different people. I think there's like you need what is really important. Of course, the cash, the team, the market know-how. I think that those three steps are really, and of course something that could boost your company, but at the end of the day, what really matters is the team, the market know-how, and the money. Yeah. And if you don't have anything of that, your business can fail.
Yeah, I agree. But of course, I mean, it's also very slow to build something bootstrap. And sometimes we just need money to, we need funding to actually achieve something, and it would take too much time if we didn't get funding. But I think there must be some kind of balance, because I also thought, sometimes things were moving slowly because we were bootstrapped, and I could have seen that if we maybe got just a little funding, we could have increased our growth faster. And at some point, I think that we would have to have had some funding if we wanted to expand to more markets. So, especially for a SaaS company where you are spending a lot of money all the time on developing your software and also acquiring customers, I think those kinds of companies, they need a lot of money to grow faster.
Yes,
I think
that's right. And basically, there's also a trade-off, right? If for yourself, for example, if you would have taken money in order to grow faster, you would have needed to give more advices to your shareholders, right? You need to do more reporting. You needed to do, right? At the end of the day, you could do it yourself, this yourself. There's no, the reporting is done by yourself, but we need to focus on those numbers because we have this VC-backed growing approach there. Therefore, I'm kind of looking at the numbers.
Makes sense.
I don't want to waste the money.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and when you get funding, you also get a lot of more obligations, and I could imagine it could also be a little more stressful because you have, a lot of expectations from the outside to actually perform. And of course, you would also had, even though you're bootstrapped, you have a lot of high expectations that you want to perform. But now you actually have people sitting in a boardroom waiting for action, and that could be a good thing as well. But it's also stressful, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, they're waiting for the sales report every month, and they ask the real tough questions. Why isn't the turnover as expected? It's
it's always a constant battle to achieve the sales goals, I think. Also because if you achieve the sales goals every month, you're probably not ambitious enough. So when you get ambitious enough, it's difficult to actually achieve them. But so how is the market right now in the solar industry? Is it growing?
Well, it's been growing in the past again. Everybody is basically investing in solar plants. The battery industry for like the smaller sites are growing. We have a lot of more customers with battery systems, but this is like the decentralized, like really small scale sites where we just supply our software to the hardware manufacturers, and we don't do active sales for like smaller customers. We just have like a B2B2C relation there behind this.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's been growing in the past again, and it's getting everybody's focusing and they have like really cool new market models because back then, but still we have this feed-in tariff where you basically build a solar site and you get a certain amount of euros per kilowatt hours for the next 20 years, right? That's like the solar subsidies, the feed-in tariff. Yeah. But now the basic business model has been changing to like PPAs, like power purchase agreement.
Okay.
You build a site and you go to a utility and tell them, well, you want to buy my energy? And they say, well, yes, for this price. So it's kind of changed the business model for solar sites.
And I'm actually also considering solar panels for my roof, but yeah.
Yeah, it would make sense. Solar panels for your roof.
That would go directly to power the Tesla. Then I would run on solar energy. That would be really cool.
100%. Yeah, you're 100% autark, so you don't need any other energy from the grid.
I think that we hit the 1 hour mark now, and I think we should maybe finish off for today. So where can people find you?
Just LinkedIn, just search for Johannes Dahl, DAHL, and then you can ask me any questions on startups, on energy. I would be more than happy to answer anything there.
I'll drop a link in the show notes for your LinkedIn, and people can connect with you there. So this has been awesome. Thanks a lot for sharing your story and telling us about what you're doing. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. Thanks a lot for having me. Really, really amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
And all the best with your podcast, of course, starting it.
Thank you. That's it for this episode. I really enjoyed listening to Johannes' story, and I think that I learned a lot from his experiences as well. I'd really like your feedback on this kind of episode. Do you like this kind of story? And if you do, please send me a DM or drop a comment in the section below. As always, if you enjoyed the episode, remember to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, remember to hit the subscribe button as well. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.